Shalom. All praises to Yahweh Bahashem, Yahweh Shai Bahashem Rakakodash. Double honors to the elder apostles, the bishops, and the elders of GMS who rules war. Peace and salutations for who rules war. Peace and salutations to the elect. My name is Alina. The title of the video is Netanotajew plans to brief Nero 47 about new Iran strike. Right. Ultimately, we understand and know pursuant to prophecy that the least of the flock will draw out Babylon the Great to war to make their habitation desolate with them. Right. So this is breaking news. It's going to prophecy here. Jeremiah 50 and 45. It says, "Therefore hear ye the counsel of the Lord Yahweh that he have taken against Babylon and his purposes that he have proposed against the land of the Chaldeans." Right. This is America. It says, "Surely the least of the flock, which is Israel, shall draw them out. Surely he shall make their habitation desolate with them." It says, "At the noise of the taking of Babylon, the earth is moved, and the cry is heard among the nations." Yeah, because ultimately America will be taken out with, nuclear missiles. And we know and understand that those nuclear missiles will be shot from uh, Russia and Russia's allies, right? And one of those allies of Russia is Iran. And that's who Israel is planning to talk about strikes with, uh, you know, America with, right? It says in verse 40 here, Jeremiah 50 and 40, it says, "As Yahweh Bashmi Awashai overthrew Sodom and Gomorrah and the neighbor cities thereof, saith the Lord Yahweh Bashmi Awashai, so shall no man abide there, neither shall any son of man dwell therein." So the same way the Most High Yahweh Bashmi Awashai overthrew Sodom and Gomorrah, it's the same way he's going to overthrow America with fire and brimstone, right? Ultimately, the nuclear missiles will hit uh, America. It says, "Behold, a people shall come from the north, and a great nation. Many kings shall be raised up from the coast of the earth." Right, and these many kings being raised up from the north is talking about Russia and Russia's allies, and that's what we see happening in these last days. Right, so when we see things like Netanyahu coming to America to talk to Trump about striking Iran, this is an indicator of the times we're living in. Right, is Ezekiel 38 and 4. It says, "And I will turn thee back." So it's talking to Russia. It says, "And I will turn thee back and put hooks into thy jaws. And I will bring thee forth in all thine army, horses and horsemen, all of them full of all sorts of armor, even a great company with bucklers and shield, all of them handling swords." It says Persia, which is Iran, Ethiopia, and Libya, with them. All of them with shield and helmet. So you got Persia here, you got Ethiopia, like Africa, right? We got Gomer and Togomar, which is going into Turkey. Right? It says Gomer and all his bands, the house of Togomar of the North Quarters and all his bands, and many people with thee. So Russia and all the people joined to Russia because we know about the prophecy about Gog, right? Gog is Russia. You have Revelation 20 and 7 where it says uh, they will go out to make war, right, with God, who's is the center of the seat. So it's going to be a great war. And that's because a lot of nations are going to be joined together because this will be World War III. And ultimately, it says in Jeremiah 50 and 45 that Israel is going to be the one that drags America into this war. And we already seen that happening with America already striking Iran. And now they're talking about more strikes, right? So that's why Joel 3 says what it says, the weak saying that they're strong. America can't puff at its enemies, too much longer. This Isaiah 10 and Psalms. Looking for, as for his enemies, he puffeth at them. Right. Psalms 10 and 5, it says, "His ways are always grievous, thy judgments are far above out of his sight. As for all his enemies, he puffeth at them." And this is talking about the wicked. Job 9:24 says the earth is given into the hand of the wicked, right? And we understand that the current ruler of the planet Earth is America, ultimately, right? The European Edomites, right? And the weak are going to sit at the strong, right? And that's what's gonna happen with Iran, you know, and Israel trying to strike Iran. Joel 3:9 it says, Joel 3:10 it says, Joel 3:9 says, proclaim ye this among the Gentiles, prepare war, wake up the mighty men, the men of war draw near, let them come up. Beat your plowshares into swords and your pruning hooks into spears, let the weak say, I am strong. Right? So we know and understand that ultimately America can't continue to just, bomb Iran and say, okay, now we're back to peace. Don't worry about it. We just needed to stop you, from making weapons, which weapons they're now back making. And Israel is, upset about that. Second Ezra 9:1, it says, he answered me then and said, measure thou the time diligently in itself. And when thou seest part of the signs past, which I have told thee before, then shalt thou understand that is the very same time wherein the highest began to visit the world which he made. Right. So we're measuring the time based on the prophecies, right? And we can see these things happening here. We have Jacob's trouble, right? We have the MOTB, we have World War III. All these things are brewing. The time seems perfect to go ahead and push forth their plans. And this is also what they're saying. They're saying, well, we need Trump in office to finish the job, finish up what they started. So they're implementing their new world order, right? They're trying to bring forth a new plan. They see how the people, are for Trump, and Trump is for them. So they think this is the guy to do it, right? It says, therefore, verse 3, therefore, then shalt thou understand that is the very same time wherein the highest will begin to visit the world which he made. Therefore, when there shall be seen earthquakes and upwards of the people in the world, then shalt thou well understand that the Most High spake of those things from days that were before thee, even from the beginning. And we see all these things happening now. Major earthquakes happen all over the world, right? It's being recorded, right? You can see because earthquakes, you kind of they don't list every earthquake unless you go and search for it, right? It's not like over the news, like, oh, there was a tremor and the Bermuda Triangle, right? No, they just record it and then they put it up there on the internet. You can look at it, but then you have uploads of the people. And now this is things that they're reporting on. Right, all around the world, farmers and different, individuals are all around the world complaining about the current state of the world because the world is going to shit. And ultimately, really, and everywhere besides Russia, China, and maybe Iran, and even now they're trying to hurt Venezuela because what America and America's allies has done is because they're trying to weaken Russia. They destroyed the Nord Stream pipeline so they can build their own pipeline. They told to put sanctions on Russia, right, and different things. So they're having problems getting energy and fuel and things like that because they're trying to weaken their enemy. And their enemy, Russia, is doing a fantastic job, and they're struggling, right? That's why even here in America, we're feeling it too with inflation and the price of things rising. Trump came out with these tariffs on everybody and putting harder tariffs on his enemies, which is just a tax on the people here in America, So it's all bad, and that's why the uproar of the people are happening, right? And you have this guy, Nero 47 in office, and he's ruling, and he's not caring about the Constitution and not caring about nothing that's going on and happening. And on top of that, he's not satisfying the people, right? He's satisfying Israel. They're saying things like United States of Israel, right? So it says, then shalt thou well understand that the Most High spake of those things that were from the days that were before thee, even from the beginning. For like as all that is made in the world had the beginning and an end, the end is manifest. Right? Even so, the times also the highest have plain beginnings and wonder and proper works, ending in effects and signs. Right? So what we're seeing is the effects and signs of the end. It says, everyone that shall be saved, and everyone that shall be saved and shall be able to escape by his works and by faith whereby he hath believed, shall be preserved from the said perils, and shall see my salvation in my land, and within my borders, where I have sanctified them for me from the beginning. Yeah. And that's why you have these camps now talking about if they do have the chip, if they do come out with a chip, don't take it. But they're missing a whole bunch of prophecies where it talks about Jacob's trouble. Right, the city has been in trouble. They're not just going to give you the chip and say, here, take this. No, they're going to put your ass to live in hell and make you beg for the chip. It's a time of testing to see whether you're gonna lean on Yahweh, Bashmi Awashai, or you're gonna lean on Esau, Edom, right? Chris on to Isaiah 30, leaning on the Egypt, right? And a lot of you will lean on Egypt because you haven't been built up and prepared for the things that come. They just talking about, oh, if there is a microchip, don't take it. Yeah, all y'all are fucked. All right. It says, then shall they be in pitiful case, which now have abused my ways, and they that have cast them away despitefully shall dwell in torments. For such as in their life have received benefits and have not known me, and they that have loathed my law while they had yet liberty, and when as yet place of repentance was open unto them, understood not, but to despise it. The same was known after death by pain. Yeah, so right now y'all getting tripped up about trying to save the fucking wicked that's trying to destroy you and plotting against you, right? Y'all worried about the great doctrine, right? I think that's what y'all tripped on right now, right? Y'all gonna always be tripping on something. They have these different debates, and nothing ever comes out of it. You're always debating the same bullshit, right? Not and then all the people in the comment section, you can see them sometimes. I see different individuals. Somebody skip them scriptures. That was funny as hell. It was one of some scriptures, and they was trying to look at some information that happened. Somebody in the comment section says skip those scriptures, right? Just get back to the bread and circus and all of that. So y'all not ready, bro. Y'all is not ready. But hey, the true prophets, the true men of the Lord have been here preparing the elect. The rest of y'all are 2/3. And therefore be thou not curious how the ungodly shall be punished, and when, but inquire how the righteous shall be saved, who the world is and for whom the world created. Why? Because you're gonna know it after death by pain. You're gonna get it. You're gonna get yours. So don't even worry about it. We're gonna worry about how we're gonna be saved up out of here. Right? It's called the screams of our salvation. All right, the chariot. But y'all just gonna die. Simple as that. We ain't gotta worry about it. It ain't no rocket science, nothing like that. But anyway, we see what times we're living in. So, I got this article. It says Netanyahu plans to brief Trump on possible new Iran strikes. He's planning to meet December 29th on this. So 2026, once again, is looking like a crazy year. It says Israeli officials believe Iran is expanding its ballistic missile program. They are preparing to make the case during an upcoming meeting with Trump that it poses a new threat. Right? It says Israeli officials have grown increasingly concerned that Iran is expanding production of its ballistic missile program, which was damaged by Israeli military strikes earlier this year, and are preparing to brief President Donald Trump about options for attacking it again, according to a person with direct knowledge of the plans, and 4 former U.S. officials briefed on the plan. So now we have the Most High Yahweh mustering the host of the battle. We already have America over there bombing Syria right now, right? We already have America mobilized trying to attack Venezuela, seizing ships that belong to Russia and Iran. We have the Ukraine and Russia situation, right? So there's a lot going on, a lot brewing. The Most High is stirring this thing up. It says Israeli officials also are concerned that Iran is reconstructing nuclear enrichment sites the U.S. bombed in June, the sources said. But they added the officials view Iran's efforts to rebuild facilities where they produce the ballistic missiles and to repair its crippled air defense systems are more immediate concerns. Trump and Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu are expected to meet later this month in Florida at the president's Mar-a-Lago estate. At that meeting, the sources said Netanyahu is expected to make the case to Trump that Iran's expansion of its ballistic missile program poses a threat that could necessitate swift action. And we already seen Trump do some swift action when he bombed them, right? So we know that the least of the fuck is going to draw them back out to this war to attack Iran. And at any point, we just had America bomb Syria for 3 dead military officials. Iran could simply just start this thing up. Then Russia gets involved and all these different things, right? Or they could attack, right, and try to pull out, and then Russia gets with Iran because the scriptures say that he'll have that evil thought. put into his mind. However the case may be. When they struck Iran the first time, they said, I guess they let them know, like, yeah, we're going to strike your buildings. They struck it. And then they said, okay, now we can have peace. And Iran said, okay, all right, now everybody strike your building. And then Iran struck the buildings. And we said, all right, now we can have peace. Right. So we don't know how it's going to play out. We know that ultimately, something's is going to happen, though, right? We're just waiting to see. But they will go to war, and it will, break forth. This is Ezekiel 38:9. It says, "Thou shalt ascend and come like a storm. Thou shalt be like a cloud to cover the land, thou and all thy band, and many people with thee." Right? Ezekiel 38:10, it says, "Thus saith the Lord Yahweh Bashem Yahushai, it shall also come to pass that at the same time shall things come into thy mind, and thou shalt think an evil thought. And thou shalt say, I will go up to the land of unwalled villages. I will go to them that are at rest, that dwell safely, all of them, dwelling without walls, having neither bars nor gates." Because ultimately, Israel and America, they're defenseless against Russia. Russia has the best missile capabilities in the world right now. Right now, out here just puffing at enemies, trying to take ships and destroy Venezuela and strike Iran, right, and threaten all these different nations with tariffs and tell them what they should and can't do, right? So to take a spoil and to take a prey, to turn down the hand upon the desolate places that are now inhabited, and upon the people that are gathered out of the nations, which have gotten cattle and goods that dwell in the midst of the land. Yeah, so ultimately you're going to come against Israel, and then ultimately, of course, coming against America. Israel and America are intertwined. Their faith, are sealed together, destroyed together. Right, Jeremiah 15:45. So here's a little video, I'll play just some of it.
The Israeli aggression against Iran in June, that was followed by a 12-day war, during which Israel conducted many attacks against Iran that Iran responded to with severe attacks against Israel, Israeli infrastructure, Israeli military bases, and very sensitive locations that belong to the genocide state. There was a ceasefire that was unilaterally declared by Israel, combined with the United States of America. But from an Iranian perspective, they said that so long as we are not attacked, we will not be responding. We will not attack back. But now the Israeli Prime Minister is planning to brief Donald Trump on a possible attack in Iran. Where is that coming from? Well, following.
And this was all on, Fox News and the rest of them. So it is, factual. At least that's what they're showing us.
The 12-day war, that didn't end. It didn't end. Israel did not achieve any of its objectives. Neither did the United States administration that followed Israel and carried out this attack to help Benjamin Netanyahu get out of the mess that he put himself in after he realized how mighty and powerful Iran was, with their missiles landing on the heads of the genocide state and the child-killing terrorists of Israel. Netanyahu is saying we need to take them down, change regime, take down all of the Iranian nuclear program, and they wanted to get rid of their ballistic missile capabilities. They wanted to instill the traitor son of the Shah as the leader of Iran. As a matter of fact, they were in communication with him, and he was invited both to Israel and the United States. After the campaign stopped, he even unfollowed Netanyahu and Trump on social media, as if he was upset with them that he didn't gain the position. It was a massive failure because they planned to take down Iran. And Iran...
So basically, regime change, like they're trying to do in Venezuela.
Refused to surrender. Didn't Donald Trump say they need to surrender? He said they need to surrender, and the Iranians told him they were not going to surrender. And the strategic stupidity of both Israel and the United States in that move was very visible. Firstly, they failed in achieving any of their objectives. So the nuclears are still there. As a matter of fact, we've recently just had reports that Iran is conducting final tests on certain missiles that are very highly advanced, that Israel is worried about, and that can have nuclear capabilities. And their strategic missiles are still there. They're still developing strategic hypersonic ballistic missiles. Infrastructure is still intact. They have, of course, the nuclear knowledge as well. And they still pose a threat to Israel. So they didn't really achieve any of their objectives. That led many people to believe that a second round is coming. As a matter of fact, both countries said that it's almost inevitable that a second round is going to come. In Israel, they said it's only a matter of time. Politicians, people in the military, and people in the intelligence community. Likewise in Iran, Many figures in Iran said that, several figures said that second war is inevitable, and that if a war like that would happen, it might just be the final war between Israel and Iran, indicating that Iran is planning to just wipe them off. The comments that were less severe than that spoke about a much bigger response that would come from Iran if Israel would.
Right. So you can check this out. If that's the intentions of Iran, Israel will be desolate. Right. And also, America will have to help Israel, and therefore America will be desolate because we know, pursuant to scripture and prophecy, that Russia will be gathering these different nations, right? Iran, Armenia, all of them, Togomar, Turkey, all these different people that go against Israel and America. And ultimately, what we have happening is the greater Israel situation, right? And a lot of these nations that Israel wants to take for their own are not happy about that anyway, right? And they're very unhappy about the current G, that's committed, that G word that's being committed by Israel in Palestine. All right. So, just want to go into that breaking news, Prophecy Watch, Shalom, to the Elect, which consists of men, women, and children, Shalom.